Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves for the Sony PlayStation 2. In the first video, we started not at the beginning, but at the end. We were on Cane Island, we found the Cooper Vault, which is where every square inch of treasure and gold and what have you that the Coopers ever stole had been stored. That is our inheritance. That is our money. But we can't get that because some guy named Dr. M has taken residence there and will not allow us to get into the vault. Even though we can clearly get into it with Arcane, and he's been trying to break in the entire time he has been on that island. Then he sicked a giant mutant creature on us, and we could not fight it. And it was there that the game decided to go all the way back to how this adventure began. And to quote Slope's Game Room again, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the beginning. And here we are, at the beginning. Almost. Before we can take on the first chapter of the game, the first episode, we have to go to the hazard room. It is there that we will learn some of the basic stuff for this game. So let's do that.
If we're gonna make it to the Cooper Vault, we'll need to perfect our thieving skills. I've rigged this place to push us to our limits.
I'm guessing these levers start the different trainers.
That's right. Each will initiate a streamlined crash course in grand larceny. I'll head for the control room, and we'll get things started.
Dish it out. I'm ready.
And from here, we have entered the hazard room. This is where we are going to learn how to do things in the game. Given that Sly 3 plays much like Sly 2, not much has changed as far as the basics are concerned. There are two switches, and you will learn different things depending on which switch you pull. If you go up to a switch, the game tells you, hey, press circle, you'll learn this. The switch on the left teaches you how to navigate, and the switch on the right teaches you how to do the spar jump and the crawl moves. We're going to start with the navigation.
Okay, all great thieves have one thing in common.
A ton of cash?
No, they never get lost. Use the right analog stick to look around the hazard room. Try to find the Cooper gang marker I'm projecting.
And to do that, use the right analog stick to find the glowing icon.
Great. Now press down on the L3 button to ping a waypoint.
And from here, you can press the left analog stick like a button. That is how you press L3. And by doing this, you call up a waypoint.
That's handy.
I agree. These holographic markers are an invaluable tool for finding your way around in the field. Notice how the logo moves to the destination? Try clicking the L3 button a few more times to get the hang of it.
And by pressing L3 twice, we get to complete this part of the training mission.
Okay, head for the waypoint and we'll commence phase 2.
Might as well head there.
I've programmed in a new mission destination. Press L3 to find it. The cool thing here is that if you don't have line of sight, the waypoint will automatically stretch above whatever's blocking your view. Scan the horizon and you'll always find it.
So we just need to move around, click L3, and go where the game wants us to go.
Perfect. Now everyone knows that a thief's best friend is a rooftop.
Provided he doesn't break his neck getting up there.
Not a problem for a man with your jumping skills. Hit the X button for a standard jump, then hit the X button a second time while in the air for an extra high double jump.
This was mentioned in the first video. X to jump, X while in midair to do a double jump. That will get us up these crates.
All right, Bentley. What's next?
As you know, it's very useful to survey guards from the rooftops. To do that, we'll have to be able to look down at them.
Let me guess. Use the right analog stick?
Yep. Try to find the marker I'm projecting down there.
And we can not only move the camera 360 degrees, but we can also pan it up and down.
Excellent. Now look up at that pillar. I'm projecting another marker.
And once again, we can hold up to look down and hold down to look up on the left or not the left, but the right analog stick.
Great. Now put all these skills to use and get to the remaining waypoints. Should be easy if you ping them with the L3 button and look around.
And from here, we need to keep using L3 and the ability to move the camera with the right analog stick to get around.
Nice, one down.
There are 2 waypoints. We've already found one of them. Now we just need to get up these crates to get to the other.
Good job, Sly. You made it. You're now ready to take on the meanest of navigation tasks.
And once you complete a job, you get the job complete screen, and you can go on about anything you want to do, whether it's exploring to hunt down some coins or finding another mission or job. Sadly, once you complete a training mission, you can't do it again, which I kind of have a bit of a gripe with, in case you stop playing a game, leave it alone for a while, and then come back to it and you suddenly don't remember what it is that you need to do. Being able to do these missions again would be nice. Sadly, the game doesn't allow for it. Now it's time for the other switch, where we learn the spire jump and crawl moves.
You picked up a lot of skills after reading the Thieves Raccoonus.
Heck of a page turner, that book.
Let's see if you remember them all. Check out those small points on that wire. You can land on them light as a feather using your ninja spire jump.
Easy. I just jump and hit the circle button.
Exactly. Try getting over to the other platform.
And all we need to do is use our jump and double jump to get to the spires, and then press circle, and we will spin around 360 degrees if we are near one of these spire points.
Looking good, Sly.
You know how I love the second story work.
Sure, but how do you feel about tight spaces? Try getting through the small opening in that wall. Hit the circle button when you're close to crawl inside.
If you ever see the blue sparkles near a low overhead, like this crawl space or a flower bed or something, you can crawl under it. Just press circle near the opening to crawl, and from there you can move around with the left analog stick. Once we crawl to the other end, we'll be done with this.
Nice job, Sly. You're a credit to the Cooper name. We're all done in here. Let's head outside and get this operation underway.
By the way, that red field below where the spire points were, that acts more or less like a laser field. If you drop down there, you just get taken back to the start of the training lesson. You basically don't want to fall down there. But now that we are done with the 2 training lessons that we are able to do in here, we can look around. These boarded up pieces of wood that are on the walls, these are for other things that we can learn with other characters, but we won't be dealing with those things quite yet. As for getting out of here, you just need to find the exit door, press circle, you'll go through, and we will head back to the main menu where we'll be able to choose the first episode. And from here, we now have a new option, which the game thankfully automatically saves for us. An Opera of Fear, which is the first episode of Sly 3. Once again, Sly 2 did this screen better. You just have this moving background with parallax, scrolling different background layers. There's a lot of blank space, but there will be things done with this blank space as we go through these episodes. I will explain things in time. For now, start episode is highlighted in the upper right hand corner. Let's go ahead and select that with X, and we'll get the first episode underway.
Getting inside a world-class vault would take a team of world-class thieves. A group of specialists, each member contributing their own particular talent. It was clear that we needed Murray back. Not only was I missing a lifelong friend, but his brute strength helped get us out of more than a few scrapes in the past. When Bentley was injured during the whole Clockwork affair, Murray blamed himself, eventually leaving the team. We tried to console him, but going out on his own was something he needed to do. He said he wanted to find his spiritual center. We got word that Murray ended up in the Australian outback, where he studied a mystic art called the Dreamtime from an Aboriginal guru. From all accounts, things went pretty well, and his teacher even sent him on a walkabout to locations all over the globe to complete the training. Latest reports have cited Murray in beautiful Venice, Italy, but what he's doing there is a mystery. I just hope he steers clear of the local mob boss, Octavio. Growing up, this guy used to be a real celebrity in the neighborhood. Everyone loved to hear him sing opera, and said he was destined to be the next great tenor. But just as his career started to take off, musical tastes changed. Suddenly, it was all about rock music, and no one wanted to listen to opera anymore. He held on to a few fans, and it was these mobsters that took him into the business. Heading onto this guy's turf was dangerous, but worth it for a chance to make things right with Murray.
And here is where the fun begins. We're in Venice, Italy. It's 4:36 a.m. We get to see a nice cinematic of the place where we are going to be for this whole episode. And we also see the Cooper gang head to the hideout. It's not like you just start the episode, you get an explanation of what you're doing here, and then you just plop, you're right in the hideout. No, you actually see a little bit of this area before you actually go to the hideout. So, just like in the second game, when you start a new episode, you can only play as Sly. At first. You can choose to play as him, which we're going to do shortly. But you can also press left or right to switch to the ThiefNet option, which you can use to buy gadgets, just like in the second game. Also, even though we picked up those 4 coins in what was technically the end of the game, we still have them here in the past. Why, I don't know. But we have 2 gadgets for now. One is the alarm clock for Bentley, which is interesting because this was an item Sly had. Now it goes to Bentley for whatever reason. And the smoke bomb, which works just like it did in Sly 2. You throw it down, you create a little puff of smoke, enemies stop fixating on you, they get distracted and they stop focusing on you. That's what I wanted to say. And you can use that to get away. Obviously, I want to get 400 coins before I do anything. And that's what I'm going to do. And as I get these 400 coins, we will be, well, I will be talking about how things have changed.
Given Murray's criminal past, it seems logical to start our search at the local police station. If he's not already in custody, the cops are sure to have leads on all the crooks in Venice.
And if we just go right here, we can start the mission, but we're not going to do that. Instead, one, we can use L3 to find the safe house at any given time, as well as our waypoints, just like in Sly 2. And 2, it's time to talk about how things have changed between Sly 2 and Sly 3. Besides the slight control differences and, oh dear, the brighter graphics compared to the second game. I need to talk about the enemies first because I am going to be seeing them. The guys with the mask, they will throw dynamite at you. You do not want that to happen. And the pigeon guys that walk around, I forget what they do, but I know they have a projectile as well. Also along the way, there are traps that you can activate. By pressing this button with circle, you can drop a boat on an enemy and destroy them. Now that that's over with, it's time to talk about some changes. We start with a special attack energy gauge right away, as opposed to when we get our first power-up. This isn't really much of a change, given that we had one in the second game, but at least the game tells us we have one a little bit early. Also, we can jump on these to go straight to the roofs, which I want to do. What else is there? Ah, yes. We can still steal from enemies by getting up behind them and pressing circle.
Just click the L3 button and head to the waypoint. The operation is underway.
Or you can just leave me alone so I can explain things and get money. You also saw me do the little move that knocks enemies into the air. You can still do that in this game. However, you have to be right next to an enemy for the move to actually be done. Otherwise, you get to charge up for the spin move, which you can do if you just press triangle and then press circle while you're rearing back like that. If I can find an enemy with a glowing pocket, I'll be able to explain one thing in, I want to say, better detail. Oh, that's right. This guy has a spin attack. And speaking of the, what is it? The special gadget gauge, the special energy gauge. You can still refill it by picking up health, just like in the second game. So there's that. But there is something else that I did want to explain. And if I can get up to the rooftops again and find an enemy, because this is where the enemies are going to be early on in the mission, or in this episode rather, I'll be able to show it off. Might as well go ahead and use the awning to bounce up there. Even he doesn't have one. Come on, I need a glowing pocket. This would be nice. And as much as I would like to climb up to that blimp, I don't want to do that. I will gladly destroy the chair and tables, though. that will always get me something. And yeah, that is the police HQ right there. I don't want to do anything there yet. But at least we're a fourth of the way towards our goal of 400 coins here. And I know that I'm at 20 minutes. I'm going to make my videos close to 20 minutes as much as I can. But I will go for length on today's video to show some exploration and also show some other stuff as well, just to explain things. And since I'm having trouble finding an enemy with a glowing pocket, I might as well just go ahead and start explaining what it is that I want to explain. In the second game, you had ThiefNet, where you can not only buy gadgets, but you can also... Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I must not be knocking him straight into the abyss. He's obviously still hitting the building before going down, which I can't have. Just like in the second game, if an enemy has a glowing pocket, that means that they have a treasure that you can steal for more money than usual. Sometimes it can be a comb, a ring, a jewel, a gem, something. And most of the things were bronze, silver, or gold. And the more precious the metal or the larger an item is, the more it's going to be worth. These guys are obviously going to have the small slash medium or the bronze slash silver items, these enemies that we're fighting off right now, assuming I can find one that has a glowing pocket. Well, in the second game, you can switch between buying gadgets and selling stuff you stole from enemies on ThiefNet. And by going into the mode where you sold stuff on ThiefNet, that's where you can get all your money for all the pocket valuables, so to speak. The rings, the gems, the combs, the jewels, whatever items that you could get. In Sly 3, that's gone. If you get anything that is worth more than a coin, it automatically gets tabulated to your coin count, and you don't have to go back to the hideout to sell it. While it was nice to be able to go to the hideout and sell a whole bunch of stuff if you needed to, it did feel a little hands-on. I can see why they changed stuff for this game, because compared to...
Click the L3 button to find a job. It's time to get started.
I'd rather find money, thank you so much. As I was saying, between Sly 2 and Sly 3, a lot of things... I wouldn't say a lot of things, but some things got streamlined. And because of that, you're not spending as much time looking for things, and you're spending more time doing jobs and just getting through the levels. Only looking for coins when you need to. Speaking of coins, get used to looking for coins and getting them a lot. Because compared to the second game, you're going to need a lot more money to get the things that you want to buy in this game. Because compared to Sly 2, you're going to be buying a lot more gadgets. The two that we saw at the beginning, the alarm clock and the smoke bomb, those aren't going to be the only things we buy on ThiefNet in this episode. As you go through the game, you'll be buying even more gadgets, which means you'll be spending more time farming for gold. So, yeah, be ready to steal off of enemies whenever you possibly can. Do that as often as you can, and you should be able to buy all the gadgets and give yourself a definite edge as early as possible. Speaking of things being streamlined, you may have noticed that you did not see a single clue bottle in this game compared to Sly 2. In Sly 3, these things are gone, which I like. Some people are in the clue bottle camp, some people are in the no clue bottle camp. I am personally in the no clue bottle camp. Just because of how long it took to find all of them in the second game. Especially in the first half of the Let's Play when it was boiling hot and I had to run the AC while recording those videos. Once I made it like halfway through the game, it started getting colder, and therefore I was able to hear the tinking and clinking of the clue bottles wherever I went. And therefore, after episode 4, it took me less time to get everything. It also helped that I had the Brady Games Player's Guide on me for whenever I needed to find something that was going to be tough to find anyway. In the third game, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Those things are now gone. There are still vaults. I believe there are still vaults where you can get special abilities out of. But other than that, you're going to be spending more time getting gold and completing missions, as opposed to spending about a half hour looking for clue bottles just so you can open a vault. I've covered ThiefNet, I've covered clue bottles, I've covered the whole stealing of things that give you more than a few coins, are worth more than a few coins. I don't know if there's really anything else for me to talk about. I guess I could talk about how the graphics are brighter compared to the first two games. Yeah, the graphics are a lot brighter and easier to see compared to the first two games. Which is great, because I do want to see when I'm doing things. And there we go. Silver pen, 59. Guess what? We automatically just got 59 coins. Speaking of graphics, as you go through the missions... Nice Italian flag right there, by the way. The time does change. It was 4:36 a.m. when we got here. And as we go through sections of the stages, we will see the sky and the environment change. We will see the flashlight enemies from the second game show up eventually. And that is a powerful spin move.
You're ready to go. Click the L3 button to find a job.
Oh, he threw a bomb at me. And that went nowhere. So now that we have 400 coins, I have enough to do things with. Let us go ahead and go back to the safe house, and I can go to ThiefNet. So I can buy the smoke bomb for Sly Cooper. Smoke bomb. Obscure the vision of your enemies for a hasty getaway. Press X to purchase this power-up. Yes, we're going to purchase this power-up. The game gives us a chance to change our mind. We're going to buy it. And we're going to play as Sly again. Good, it's not telling me. Okay, time to press select. And this takes us to the gadget grid, much like in the second game. From here, we can select a gadget and assign it to L1, L2, or R2. We still can't assign anything to R1 because that is still the run button, which I have not even used in this video, and I didn't really need to because, well, I was able to get around quickly enough anyway. I'm going to go ahead and set this to L1 for now. And of course, the descriptions for the gadgets are the same as in the ThiefNet menu. And, like I said before, we may have picked up a silver pen. We won't be able to utilize any menu except for this one. We can't press the shoulder buttons to go between buying gadgets and selling loot because the loot that we get off enemies is automatically tabulated once we steal it from somebody. Speaking of which, you may remember the items from the podiums. There were 3 of them in every episode. And if you got them back to the safe house without getting hit, you would get a big sum of money. You get a ton of money. And you sold those like you did the loot you got off the enemies. These podium treasures, these big ticket items, they're also gone. So getting coins in this game, a lot harder. And a lot more mandatory. Because you're going to be buying a lot of gadgets in this game. That's all the major stuff for now. I will explain other things along the way. But we have bought the smoke bomb. We have explained some of the things about this game that I wanted to explain, wanted to get out of the way. I'm pretty sure there are other things. I will mention them if I remember them or when they come up somehow. And I'm going to go ahead and save the game here real quick. Let us go ahead and save all that progress, so that way I don't have to do any of it anymore. And now that we've gotten enough money for both gadgets, and to make sure we are covered when we have to buy the alarm clock for Bentley, because we will have to play as Bentley eventually. He's going to be playing a little bit differently. I will mention him when the time comes. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. So, join me next time where we finally get episode 1 underway. We head to the police station. We try to look for Murray. Because who knows where that big lug might be. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!